That's some positive news. Down to a bit of a downer for moi personally. Oh, what do you want to talk about? Last of Us or Vin Diesel?
I think they both have highs and lows from both sets of quotes. So let's do Vin Diesel. Let's do Fast and Furious because I'm a big fan of family.
Love to hear it, Coy. Love to hear
How I Met My Fiance, that franchise.
Where was this? Fuel Fest.
Yeah, Pomona. I followed the hell out of this. I wanted to go. I'm a dude. It's like Racer X is real. I love this. Where it was done.
I don't want to get myself in trouble.
With Vin?
I'm going to slightly get myself in trouble.
Okay.
Because he came out and clearly he's not in Dominic Toretto shape.
Oh, sure.
And I feel like it's important he is. Or they lean into Vin Diesel's new body.
Hey, cars get body work all the time.
There was one comment I saw.
I am so excited to see where you go right now.
I am acknowledging that I thought this comment was funny. And I know what it's like to be overweight and struggle with weight. You guys saw me just a few months ago. I was 45 pounds heavier, right? I know what it's like to struggle with weight. And there was one comment that just hasn't left my brain. He needs to,
I don't even know what the comment is. I'm enjoying this journey.
It's something that was said. I remember forgetting it. It's just something like he needs to fast furiously now. So messed up. I was like, that's pretty fucking funny.
I think as long as he switches to unleaded, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, by the time he's filming the movie, he'll be in great. The movie's not going on for a long time. He's got plenty of time, yeah. And he's been through ups and downs before with it, and whatever. He's a multi-millionaire.
He's just vibing. Also, he's like 50-something.
Yeah, frick, man. Like, who cares? But still, and to his credit, he's got one of those builds that even when he is overweight, he's still got that
he's like a trunk
Bane thing. He still looks like he can put up a fight and mess you up. You know?
I still wouldn't fight this Vin.
So even if he just didn't even want to lose weight for the next Dominic Toretto performance, I'm like, he still looks imposing though.
I do think there was a surprise element that's causing everyone to be like, because we haven't seen him in like a year. Yeah. So all of a sudden we're like, what?
Anyway, so he said this up there. He had 3 conditions. Do you believe that he actually is in control of these conditions? Because the Fast and Furious franchise has been dipping up and down financially and reception. And like the last one will cost like $2 billion to put together. So it's something stupid. And it's taking us a long delay for a Fast X Part 2 that has very, very clear cliffhangers where the movie doesn't even feel complete.
I think he has more control than the average person because of how long he's been the face of it. And I think that it is, look at the franchise math. I think we talked about this in Mission Impossible, where when a new installment comes out, it helps everything that led up to it. I think Fast and the Furious 10 lost money, but it still didn't lose a lot of money because it helped 1, 2, 3. Like, franchise math is different because then your streaming rights renew and then your all of your TV rights change and stuff. But at the same time, he came out and he was like, we're doing Fast X 2 and 3. And I'm sure 100 executives were like, what? So I don't know when he says these things, who's vetted them. I don't know if they become true because he said them. I don't know if his contract's just like, you're the face of this, go nuts.
Yeah.
I want to see the lawyer side of whatever Vin Diesel's contracts are because I've never seen a frontman that isn't like, if Stallone does it with Rocky pre-Creed, I'm like, sure, it's your thing. But like, there's a lot of people. It's a family and it's a huge thing. What if this is true?
Yeah.
And like, I believe when he announces something, there is a conversation that happened before. But I've also never seen someone come out and say stuff so bold as you're getting a trilogy when no rumor had been of that.
Yeah.
And now I'm wondering, like, chicken or egg. Like, are they making it a trilogy because he said it? Was the plan? Obviously, the movie ends in a way you need another one, but we haven't heard anything about a 3. Or does it cross over with Triple X? Is it Fast XXX?
Oh, that would not make sense. But
not at all, but I'd watch it.
But why does this need to make sense?
His twin Xander Cage, I'd watch that, dude.
It doesn't need to make
Triple X 3 and Fast X 10 3. Yeah.
And then
Xander Cage comes in. He's family. He's the twin.
Dominic can be what Vin looks like now.
Yeah.
And then
Dominic Toretto
X will be the buff lean version. Yeah. Then you can easily distinguish between the two.
And you bring an Exhibit because he was in X2.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't like one of these statements
Exhibit?
too.
That was Ice Cube.
Oh, I think it's just because his name is Exhibit. I thought it was him. You're right. I think it was Ice Cube.
Yeah, it's Ice Cube.
Exhibit's back.
Fun fact, I haven't seen a single XXX movie.
What? Dude, they're fun.
One.
They're dumb, but they're a lot of fun.
I would love to watch one. Anyway, let's get to the...
Speaking of Exhibit.
Let's get to the conditions that he apparently told Universal. The first was to bring the franchise back to Los Angeles.
I think that's true. Let's do one at a time. I think that's true. I think it's smart. I think you need to have something that feels like a bookend. We love a bookend.
We love a bookend.
But also, I think the heart of this movie is LA, and I think they've traveled the world a lot because I think that's fun. I think that makes it like a Bond thing. I think after 5, they really went that way. But I think if it's going to feel like a conclusion, it should come back home.
Mm-hmm. The second was return to car culture, to street racing.
I mean, they announced this at Pomona. They announced this at a place that is it's like the real life street racing version of the movie, but down the street. I think that's totally real. When I did Fast X trailer press, they really focused on car culture, and they had what was effectively like a Comic Con for Fast X trailer announcement. Like there was a concert. Like it was insane. It was the coolest thing I'd been to because I'm a huge fan of this franchise. Like I want this to do well. I definitely think that's something that they need to make sure is a factor.
Well, I remember F9 wanting to go back to the past and the roots. And
yeah.
Even though pacing-wise, I recall it kind of dragging down the experience of the movie, it's clearly within Vin Diesel's desire to go there, considering what that movie was already exploring. And what the franchise has evolved into, which is not believable. And I remember in the last movie, there was a stunt with a bike person, and all they do is go over this little railing. Like, and I don't know if you guys remember that shot. It is so small compared to what that movie does, but I remember seeing that and being like, whoa, that's crazy, because it's real.
Yeah.
Because it looks real. And I saw Tokyo Drift like maybe just last year for the first time. I reacted to it. And I was so taken aback by, oh my God, this looks incredible by how real it is. And obviously, I think audiences are craving that again, the realism.
Could F1. Like the movie is thriving off of strapping you to the car.
Yeah.
I think if they can do something that feels more like F1 meets Fast 1, then we're going to be in a spot where it's like, not only are we coming home, not only is the franchise about coming home, not only is it about LA, but it gives a plausible reason to not have a Fiat launch to the moon.
Exactly. You know, like the bigger CGI spectacle stuff, it's not winning over audiences, and it's also costing the movie so much more money.
Fast X didn't do well.
No, it didn't.
And that's because of that. I think anyway. I think we love the family, but we want them home.
All right, here's the third one. The third is the reunion of Dom and Brian O'Connor. That is what you'll get in the finale. Now, in the video, the crowd was freaking out. Mm-hmm. And I'm more than the side of, ooh.
It's the thing I don't like too.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's just going to, it is inevitably going to be, you got two choices. You do some weird AI deep fake thing with dead eyes. You do whatever you can to make it look best. I know he's got a brother and all, and whatever.
He's got two brothers that look a lot like him.
Still. And then you have the option to just recast, which no one would want.
I do not think they would. Like Paul Walker is.
No, I think that would be awful. And some people do bring up when they're talking about later movies after Paul Walker's death of like, don't you think Brian would be here? Don't you think Brian would care? And I think it's one of those movies where the audience is so aware that Paul Walker died.
It's part of the culture of the film. And they do mention Brian in the movies a lot. Where they're like, Brian's watching the kids. Brian couldn't make it. So like
they keep the presence of him
alive.
alive.
That's what I love about them, is that Brian is alive, but Paul has passed away. Yeah. I don't want to see... I love that they finished the role he shot most of with his brothers. I thought that was really beautiful. And I thought the end of the film having them split was and that song, that is to this day, I don't cry often. That will not fail to make me cry.
It's a beautiful moment.
It's so powerful. Even just the song, I get chills because I associate it with that moment.
Yeah.
That would undermine that moment.
Yeah. Oh, it totally would undermine that moment. And there's like a way you could do it where maybe people interact with him or he has some monologue to him, but you don't actually see his face. One of those like obscuring things. But the way he's talking about it is making him sound like a reunion.
I'm afraid he's going to be like a co-lead.
That's what I mean. I don't agree with this decision at all. And I feel like seeing the reception from a crowd in the audience can be very misleading on how it actually will go down. And I think it would be a very negative response.
I think this is an example of us being very deeply in the industry and people are going to love it.
You think so? You think people would love that? I don't feel like people love it.
I think it's ghoulish. I think it is digging up a dead body, and I think it's not great. But I think his family is signing off on it. His mom was there for the announcement. His brothers have been there. And I think that the average moviegoer is going to be like, "What a great use of technology!" And like people are. Dude, like, we are so insular. And even, like, maybe most of the audience that watches us, this is a movie-centric thing. I think people that are, like, in race culture that grew up with Paul, they want to see the return of the Busta. And, like, I love the franchise keeping Brian alive, but I don't want to see him because I'm going to think of Paul not being here.
Yeah.
And that's going to be painful. Like, I mean, this is where I feel like I can blend my personal and my movie love. But I started wearing Converse because friggin' Paul Walker did. I lived in Glendale for 3 years because I knew Paul Walker lived in Glendale just because I thought it was cool. When I first moved to LA, I wanted to be Paul Walker so bad. I bleached my tips in high school. I bought a 95 Honda Civic for like $4,000 and put $5,000 into it over the course of 2 years. I bought the car before I could legally drive. I bought it at 15. Like, I worked on a car for a year till I could drive it because of Paul Walker. I was obsessed. I got pulled over in so many tickets for underbody LEDs. Like, this is my franchise because in comic stuff, I grew up reading comics and I became an expert. So it's something that like I got to do for work. Fast and the Furious never felt like work because there wasn't like lore to know outside the movies, really. So Fast stayed fun. So I love the franchise because it doesn't feel like any part of me is like a historian. So growing up with Fast, every single one felt like an event. It felt special. It felt all these things. I feel like bringing Paul back would feel like the last 3 or 4 movies, him being a presence, it would undermine so much of the integrity of keeping Brian alive. And like, I just feel like it's really in poor taste, but I don't think the average person will.
Yeah, well, there's also, then I think it puts more holes in the other ones that he's not in.
I know.
Because then you're like, well, why wasn't he on any of these missions?
Really babysitting those kids. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I don't know. And also like the relationship that they all had with Paul, the man himself. Like, I don't know that Paul Walker would want, like, he was an environmentalist. I don't know that he'd want all of the resources used to dig up his body and put it in a movie. Like, it takes a lot of CGI and technology that is harmful to the planet. Like, I don't know.
I think sometimes in an attempt to honor something, you somehow dishonor something.
Yeah.
And I think this would be the case.
But like, again, his mom and his brothers clearly are excited about it. And I want to respect that they are excited about it. Like, I want to give respect to the family because at the end of the day, if the family's happy, that's as close as we can have to Paul being happy. And I know I met Cody at the Fast trailer event and talked his brother, Cody Walker. Sorry. Cody Walker's his brother that does a lot of the work of him in the movies. And I met him and I told him how much his brother meant to me. Like, I kind of just did the same thing where I was like, this is a lot of data and I'm so sorry. And like, he sat and listened. He gave me a big hug. He thanked me for telling him. We talked for like 20 minutes about his brother. He told me stories. He's like, I want you to like feel like, you know, you got to connect with him even though he's not here. And I was like, what a selfless thing for you to think about me. Cause you know, you're like, let me go talk about your dead brother. Like, it felt weird for me to even approach. And I was like, is this the worst thing I could do? And then when he was like, I want you to feel more connected, I was like, what a selfless dude. And that to me is the only good side, is it feels like his brothers and his mom are trying to give people that cared about the guy a little more of him. And they're trying to rekindle and keep him alive in that way. And if the technology's there. So I'm very conflicted. But I personally, if his family is not a part of the equation, don't want it. But if his family's involved, I'm happy for them to get to feel that connection with people because they are clearly connected to the audience.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, throw it to you guys in the comments.